let's get right into talking during the movie.
Okay.
This,
Please.
so Royal over here brings this movie up, and he says he really sold it, like really really sold it. And I just want to preface everything that's about to happen with, I think this was a really fine film, but when you're talking about the likes of Quentin Tarantino, Wes Anderson, Martin Scorsese, like the greats, Oliver Stone, when I watch their movies and people like directors that are held in such a high regard universally, when I watch their movies, I have to hold them up against the flames. If anybody else, some no name directed this and I just stumbled upon it, I'd have been like, this is very, very impressive. But because it's Quentin Tarantino, there's just some issues that I take some issues with it.
And when you talk about a film like Jackie Brown, and when you're talking about a director like those, the Scorseses and the Tarantinos of the world and the Royals of the world and the Spike Lees of the world, and when you look at films like that, you have to hold them to the flames. You have to hold them to such high regard. And see, that's where Jackie Brown really hits home for me, because it's right there to the flames. It's Teflon. Charges don't stick to this film. It's Teflon, because nothing. The bar is not only, it almost sets the bar higher, but I will not say that. I will at least say it's right on par with all those films that I've seen in the Tarantino. Well, let me not say that all the films, but I can say his earlier catalog. Like, to me, if you want, we'll discuss this later, but this is above Kill Bill for me.
Oh yeah, I would definitely put it above Kill Bill.
Okay, so we're starting off playing nice. Okay.
Yeah, I would certainly put it
I'll
above
open my
Kill
book
Bill.
now.
But I just so this is obviously something that is, it's divisive across the board for Quentin Tarantino fans, because in lieu of this episode, I posted something on Facebook, just no disclaimer or anything. It was just Pulp Fiction or Jackie Brown, asking for a friend. And I'll put a little marker up as I say each one of these. But we have Pulp for the win. I like them both equally. Pulp Fiction is more complex, but Jackie Brown is textbook Tarantino. Pulp Fiction all the way for me. I respect Jackie Brown, but it's not even in the same ballpark. I couldn't pick one over the other. Rum Punch is one of my favorite Elmore Leonard books. I think they did a great job adapting it, which that was news to me. Elmore Leonard did this. He also did my favorite show, Justified. Angela, my wife, she just chimes in with a gift that isn't helpful. Mike Madden, depends on your goals, maybe. Pulp Fiction is pure Tarantino. Jackie Brown, while amazing and a great film in its own right, isn't quite the same. Pulp Fiction, but Jackie Brown is the best to watch when you absolutely positively got to kill every motherfucker in the room. Jackie Brown, John Citrone, who is I don't really know where he falls.
I do know where he falls when he says you need new friends, because everybody said something about Pulp 30%. And furthermore, I want to put on the record, I tried to comment on this thread. For some reason, my comments wouldn't show up.
I don't know about that. That had nothing to do with me. Richard Kodai, Pulp. Darren Cooper, Pulp. Dinah, very hard to choose, but it's Pulp Fiction for this gal. I still remember the first time I saw it. Angela chimes back in with another gif. Royal's going to be so mad.
Do I look mad?
Jackie Brown is my favorite movie. Jackie Brown. Some idiot says Barney. Gonna have to go medieval, so I guess that's Pulp. Because Jackie Fiction and Pulp Brown is just so wrong.
Somebody's trying. I feel like that's the makeup guy.
Yeah, I feel like that would be something Travis would say, but I actually know that person. I don't know what they mean. Oh, Ricky B says Jackie. Pulp Fiction. Jackie Brown had some great twists. Jackie Brown, Pulp Fiction. Fox Force 5, so that's low-key Pulp Fiction.
That is low, yes.
Pulp,
okay.
Yeah, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown. David Wolleiser says neither.
Okay, you know what that means, yeah.
Such different movies. I like them for themselves. Pulp Fiction and Jackie Brown. So there's definitely the people have their opinions about this, as do I. I think if I would have saw Jackie Brown before I saw Pulp Fiction, which that's not the order that they chronologically came out in, so I feel like he he downgraded a little bit for Jackie Brown.
Yeah, when you say if by downgraded you mean inverse downward, a tenant type reference, well, because he didn't down anything for me. So I'm just going to go straight. We're not going to get anywhere by throwing verbal mental jabs. So let's go ahead and get started with the talking points. And so, as you can see, guys, it's film is interpretation. That's the beautiful part about film. Well, there are a percentage of people who love the Jackie Brown. There was a percentage of people who love the Pulp Fiction. One thing I didn't love, though, as a person sitting to my left, computer right, is that he said it was a downgrade. No one there said a downgrade other than the guy that said neither, who's obviously on acid. So with that being said, he feels it's a downgrade. So let me uplift my uneducated, uninformed unisex brother over here. Let me help him out. With that being said, when we jump into this film has so many talking points. The one thing that I really love to talk about is the Melody and Ordell relationship. To me, he has a line in there later we'll discuss. He's like, man, that's my cool white surfer girl. Playing into the stereotypical thing of like, I feel like Tarantino was around one of his black friends one day. He was like, man, I just want me a cool white girl, man. And it's not a disrespectful thing. It's like, you got to understand where I come from. It's a predominantly black neighborhood. It's still a predominantly black neighborhood. The only white girls I saw on TV was on USA Up All Night and when I snuck to see Skinamax at 14 years old. So now he's playing off that fantasy. So I love the dance between them two. And while it did borderline on disrespectful, I mean, he did Black Snake Moan. If you saw Black Snake Moan, this is nowhere near on the lines of that. But again, their relationship to me was really intriguing.
Yeah. When you talk about the stereotypes or being disrespectful, I did wonder, like, in hindsight, is it, and Spike Lee kind of brought this up too, and took issue with it when this movie came out. It's a white dude that's writing and directing. So, like, even though Sam Jackson has the most N-bombs dropped, it's still a white dude's writing that is dictating that. And I don't want to say is that okay because I don't want to pass judgment, but is that weird?
It's intriguing. It's up into interpretation because here's the thing. I'm not putting this is the way I look at it. I can't go into space. I'm not an astronaut, but I'm an astronaut. Like, I can teach you everything you need to know when you go up there, but that's not what I do. So my thing is, yes, there are people write stuff, and I get what you're saying. Like, if it just starts out, oh, nigga this, nigga that, nigga this, oh, I love nigga, you know what I'm saying? And so, like he did in I don't know what's that movie, Pulp Fiction. You know what I'm saying? Same character. So with that being said, granted, I mean, a good script is just a good script. I don't care who wrote it at the end of the day. Like, don't get me wrong. If he has a pattern of doing this, now I feel like, oh, this is what you do. This is your way of placating. I'm not going to say the N-word. I'm going to make my nigga say the N-word. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like the guy that wrote the lines for Denzel. My nigga. That wasn't a black guy that wrote those lines. But he won an Oscar when he started. When a white guy wrote my nigga for Denzel, that was they nigga. So with that being said, to me, as an artist, I don't care as long as there's not an obvious red flag pattern.
Okay, yeah, I agree. A good story is a good story, and if the dialogue is fitting to the characters, then
I mean, you don't see aliens coming down. I can't believe you're writing this stuff about us. You don't know who we are.
That's true.
Jesus Christ, man.
But there's no AOLM either.
There will be now.
Yeah. I will say on positive notes, there were two moments that had me falling out of my seat laughing, and both of them were Robert De Niro's character. Of course, the scene where he shoots where he shoots Melanie in the parking lot, but even better.
So
let
me get this straight: him killing a young white female had you just dying all over in the parking lot.
Yes, because we've all been there and wish we had a gun to just shut her up. But the best part to me is when it cuts to Lewis is getting like sung to and getting the treatment from Simone. He's sitting in that rocking chair going so vehemently, just like and staring at her just like
like a cuckold.
Yeah, it was that is, and every angle from where it opens up and it's the front angle looking right at him, and then it cuts to the side angle from the other side of the room, and you just see the back of the chair just going crazy. Like, I don't know why.
What was he doing in that chair?
And it didn't match. He wasn't even like a typical white guy. She's doing this slow R&B song, and he's not on pace with it at all. He is just.
You know what's crazy? I think he was trying to be on pace.
That's probably trying to find the beat.
One of the things, a classic Tarantino style was, if you noticed, I don't know if anybody's ever done the math on this, but as far as the cuts that he does in the film, but as far as like, of course, the scenes are just so long, but in a good way now. It's like a slow. His scenes are still a slow burn, and that's a classic style because it allows you to get into and you can't do this with average actors. This has to be above average actors because the idiosyncrasies and the talent it takes to do a long. You're talking about the dialogue, the face. When me and you filmed on Selma, and we had Q and Melissa they did that scene. One of the things we talked about, like, man, it went on so long, but it was you lost your mind in it, like you were engulfed into it. So I love that he was still able to keep that cinematography style of that long tracking shot within this film as well.
Yeah, I appreciated that at times when it worked. It worked really well, but I have something to say about that in the things we would have changed too,
Okay.
because that falls on, like, sometimes it was amazing and sometimes I'll get to that.
Gotcha.
From 1997 until Kill Bill in 2003, 6 years, he didn't direct another film, and arguably I would say that gap marked the true decline of Tarantino quality films. Like, I feel like everything since Kill Bill has been trying to recapture that magic in a bottle that he had with Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown.
I can't say that you're wrong about, but I wouldn't use the word the. I would say after Jackie Brown took. I won't even just say Jackie Brown. That's unfair. I would say after. And you know this. Once you've done something, and it's one thing when you think something's good, you can handle your stuff not being good.
Mm-hmm.
What you typically cannot handle is when you think your stuff is really good or is just okay, but then everybody loves it, and they're calling it the Tarantino standard. So now you can't just do films anymore. You set the bar so high, and so I get where you're coming from when you're like, hey, listen, you got to understand, they've been feeding me acid. You can't give me some weed now, like, but not even weed, coke, like from acid to coke. But my point is this: is that I think the totality of the films prior to Kill Bill weighed on him. So after that, I mean, I would want to take a break, dude. Like, because the studios are demanding it. And here's the thing: now you got studios saying, "Well, you should at least be able to do this." Like, wait a minute, I still just want to tell stories.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. What if I don't? This is not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Well, can you make different flavors? Now, I'm not telling my story now. So I just think that at a certain point you can only before it's like, dude, like, what's up next, Q? What do you got next? Like a vacation, a family, drugs. I don't know. Leave me alone.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I kind of feel like he got big. He got budgets because there was a noticeable difference between those first three movies, and then Kill Bill was this big budget, looked like a big budget, and everything has kind of been that way since then. And I think, like, I would say that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is the closest he's come to recapturing that magic he had just naturally in the first three movies. And I don't even think that's a popular opinion. I don't think a lot of people appreciated Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. One other thing I did want to make mention of is that with Quentin Tarantino movies, even going all the way back to the near beginning with Jackie Brown, I noticed that two things he stays true to that you can always count on in a film is close-up shots of a girl's feet and point-of-view shots from a trunk.
Yeah, the POV is everything. The POV, and we'll discuss that later. I mean, if you guys didn't love that intro, we just rocked the out of with the trunk shot. That was an homage to Tarantino, and of course the foot thing. Like, hey, guy, hey, listen, hey, teach us on. Something floats everybody's remote. Whatever finds your lost remote. One of the things I wanted to hit on is, damn it, I really just miss normal stereotypical racism cops. I really miss those. Because like you knew what you were dealing with, and Vargas is such a prick. But I miss pricks like Vargas because you know why? Vargas believed in the code. He really believed in everything they taught him at the academy, which was, it doesn't matter whether it's a spick, a Jew, a Gentile, an alien, or even white people. He didn't give a like, he was going to take whatever stereotypical thing he can say. And when he looked at Jackie, and he was like, you're a 44-year-old gainfully employed black woman holding on to whatever little shitty job you can. You didn't really set the world on fire, did you, Jackie? Like, I didn't see an N-word in him. Yeah. But I knew that he didn't like it. It was the typical Joe Friday cop, like, you piece of shit. that you're doing nowhere. You're the reason why the world stinks. Like, I miss that prick type of cop.
You didn't even ask if you could smoke. Can I smoke?
No. Right. So, we got a little dragnet
Then
going
when
on.
he's getting a little something
Like
from
what?
her, she's in there lighting cigarettes back and forth, and it's all right.
Like the paddy wagon cop.
Yeah.
Stop that. Like, I miss that shit compared to the, all right, we don't have enough time for that.
This movie rubbed me the wrong way from the I put it in and I had no idea what I was getting into. I put it in and I was like, all right, it's about 10.
First off, how did you real quick? How did you get the movie?
Oh, okay, yeah. So I had to borrow the DVD from you.
Yes.
So
those little things, kids, you stick into a little thing and they show you little movies.
So I had to run to the grocery store, as did Mr. Royal, and the timing didn't quite work out perfectly, so the DVD ended up being hid in a random tree in a parking lot next to the Publix in Riverside, and I couldn't find it, so I had to call you. I had to have you on the video call, guiding me to the tree. It absolutely looked like I was doing something other.
So I had to, thank you for saying that. I did all of that for him to say I had to lead him to the light, guide him to the tree of enlightenment. Go ahead. Thank you.
I would say the tree of knowledge of good and evil that I should not have partaken from.
Yes, sir.
It definitely looked like a drug deal. I was really hoping that you didn't surprise me with some. There wasn't like an extra surprise.
Not that time. No. Kill.
But then I get it home, and I got my Publix sub. I put the DVD in, and it's like 10 o'clock at night. I hit the display to see, all right, when am I going to be done with this? And it's 2 hours and 40 minutes, and I was like, oh my God. And that's why that's why some of the scenes that lingered on kind of annoyed me, because it's like this could have been a solid like 2-hour movie. 2 hours and 20 minutes maybe, but no, and I'll get to that. I'll get to that.
Did you hear the star-studded lineup cast?
Yeah,
Okay. I love. When I said Dragnet earlier, I love the classic good cop, bad cop scene, because like he jumps right from the beginning when they get to catch Jackie Brown at the airport. You got Michael Keaton, Mr. Cool, Batman, or whatever. He's just sitting back there. Beetlejuice is all leaning up against his car, and then you got the other cop. Like I can just take you in on suspicion, right? Excuse me, Jackie. Like they go good cop, bad cop, and she's seen this before. She like a suspicion of what? Hey, those guys at customs, they're a bunch of pricks. Like, come on, what are you doing, man? Come on, I'm pretty sure that customs relations meeting is gonna go great later.
I love it when they're fighting over the color of.
It's a white bag.
Yeah.
The Lamo bag, purple. It's purple. No, that's bag.
That reminded me of that was like a callback to Reservoir Dogs when they're all sitting there like, all right, you're Mr. Brown, you're Mr. Green, you're Mr. White. But why is and they have this argument about I'll be Mr. Purple. I thought that kind of drew back to that. I'll say I have like a few positives before I get into the other stuff. But Quentin Tarantino definitely knows his way around the soundtrack. Like he can pick songs for a moment that are so perfect in ways that like you would never think this song should go here, but he puts it there and it like works. So
but he broke his for the most part. He broke his rule this time because the music actually went with the type of film that it was this time. And whether it's the Django Unchained or whatever things he's done before, and that's what made it beautiful. It's like, wait a minute, why is this classical thing happening in this hood scenario? Or why is this hood music playing in this western? Like when the Rick Ross song and the Django Unchained, it's like, damn, this came out of nowhere, but I'm feeling it. So yeah.
When Ordell and Lewis are talking in the opening scene, and when he's wanting Melanie to get the phone, and he has to like go through the shit with her the first time the phone rings, and finally she gets up and gets it. The second time the phone rings, he doesn't say anything. Yeah,
he's like, damn it, homeboy, you gonna pull this shit in front of him?
We just went through this. Go.
Oh my God. And then she picks up, it's for you.
Yeah.
And that's this cool white surfer girl, man. Leave him alone. One of the other things is that, again, that we talk, me and my brother get into this later, is that when Ordell, Ordellrobie, on sounds like that, USHERA, when he tells Lewis outside the car, when Lewis gets done jacking off in front of Simone during that rocking move, when he comes downstairs and he says to it, and I don't want to say the line because it's one of my lines for later, but he basically tells Lewis, man, if you're gonna come in this thing with me, you got to come in all the way. And see, now that I'm thinking about what my brother said later, it's the combination of that line plus what happened to man used to be beautiful. He's already seeing the decline in Lewis. Like, listen, man, look at me. I love you. So if you don't want to do this, we can keep it here. But if you're gonna come in this way, you gotta come in with me all the way. Meaning that shit that happened at the mall. Man, you see Max motherfucker. So, go ahead, man.
Of course, the Debo line. I mean, I thought that was great when Ordell's talking to Max. He sees the pic of him and Debo. He says, "You his boss, y'all tight." It's your idea to take that picture, wasn't it? Thought that set Max up for this like
slam dunk. You can be easily bigot or racist, and he stiff armed as like. But he almost gave him that look like I'm not even going to dignify what you just said.
Yeah, Max was a very enjoyable character to watch because he was so
Robert Forster.
Yeah, and he was like at every turn it was the opposite of what you expected, and then it just kind of sealed the deal when he goes to Jackie Brown's place the day after to get his gun, and she's playing the Delphonics. He ends up just listening to that.
Was
but
cool,
then,
man.
You want coffee? I don't have any creamer. Black is fine.
Black is.
I was like, oh, okay.
Nothing's changed. Well, my ass got bigger. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. He was cool, man. As you really think about it, I think we're going to talk about it later. He didn't raise his voice or turn red one time. Don't you realize how hard it is for a white man not to turn red? I don't know. I'm not a white man, but I would assume it's very hard.
Oh, yeah. You cannot control it. The last point I have is Robert De Niro with his, like, he knows his way around some drug paraphernalia.
Oh, yeah.
But when he's hitting that bong, he's doing all the little details that you only really, like, you can't, there's no, like, training for the little things that he was doing to get the most out of every hit that he took with the bong, like, hitting the chamber like that.
You know who would have been so disappointed in him with this drug uses?
Who?
Jimmy. From Goodfellas. You're turning your brain into mush.
It was bad, too. You were sitting there watching him just decline mentally throughout the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's like...
The opening scene, dude, he doesn't talk for like 3 minutes. Like, why show both of them? They want to show you he's so just like, man, I'm just trying to buy my time till I die.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said that's the last point. That's not true. It's the last positive point you have. With that being said, one of the other things I wanted to really talk to was, of course, you talk about the... really, you hit a lot of my points. One of the things I really liked was that my brother brought this up later on, is that the small the characters that didn't have as much screen time still played pivotal plots. Simone. Like, listen, your part was so small you didn't have that many words, but Sam Jackson blew you up at the end when he said, and that Simone is going to goddamn $10,000 too, because, like, think about it. Like, remember, like my brother says later, everything could have went, like, think about this. It really spoke, so she was like a smaller time version of Pam Grier's character. Like, so here she is dealing with this, sit your raggedy ass down, which we'll get to later, this raggedy ass Ordell Roby, and she was like, she's dancing for Ordell. Notice now, what you did not notice in Simone's apartment, all those little DVDs and CD players, like, she's into some crooked shit. So my point is, at that moment, she saw her exit, like, oh, I've been on highway with Ordell, but there's exit Simone right there, $10,000 in a new life. This nigga, I'm gone. I love that shit happened.
Yeah. I will say...
Props to women in this movie. No, Melanie was the only woman that really got fucked up in this movie.
Yeah, and she really had
deserved
it coming.
Yeah, she really deserved it.
And I'll get to the positive.
All right, guys.
Positive note.
Well, guys, we can literally. I know you guys thought the war was coming. It is. It's the calm before the storm. But as you guys see, these are talking points. Please, if you not see the passion, well, I mean, we could literally did this with the books closed. But if you don't see the passion on this, guys, these are talking points. Jackie Brown.
Find us in all these links. It's coming up right now.
Why don't you subscribe? It'll last longer.